Greetings and gents, I'm John Sturm, and welcome to the second episode of the John Squirt Show. Now, the whole first show was 3 hours, so, I guess maybe that was the first season? I don't know, something. But welcome back to the John Squirt Show. I'm John Sturm, and this is my guest. Are you happy now?
Guest.
Finally said it, guest.
Oh, yes.
My dad.
Hi.
So,
I'm also John Sturm.
Yep. So it's the John Squared Show, and this is the second episode. So we left. So welcome to the premiere. How you doing, Dad? It's been a good while, actually.
Yeah, we're good. Just driving out of Vernal back to Salt Lake.
Yep. So, all right. Today's subject is whatever Dad wants to do. I don't really have a lot of. I didn't think we were gonna do a second episode so soon. I mean, only a month later. I don't know, something. Well, what do you want to do today, Dad? I think our first topic will be friends.
We'll be friends? Oh, I'll be
yes,
your friend.
I'll be your friend too.
Let's be friends.
So your
Can
friends.
we be friends?
So your friends growing up.
Yep.
In particular, Brandon, because as you said in the first episode, he was actually a troublemaker. Not a big.
Well, we both were troublemakers.
You both were. Let's talk about that for a little bit. Tell me about your relationship with Brandon.
Okay, well, first of all, I'd like to draw attention to my blue YouTube shirt that I'm wearing yet again.
Yep.
Apparently, I only wear this shirt when I'm going to be on the YouTube video, so...
You can tell this is different for me because I got a red shirt on today.
Yeah, and the first day that you were here, or that I was off work and we were together, we both had red shirts.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, so...
It was funny. We were twins.
Yeah, twins.
And Dad did not want to see that, though. I don't know why.
No, that's weird. That's weird.
Whatever.
Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about my friends. So Brandon. So I met Brandon in first grade. When he moved. He was living in Michigan. Him and his family were living in Michigan. They moved to Murray in first grade. And the start of the school year, like a couple weeks into the school year, first grade. And I remember he came to the class. Our teacher, Mrs. Hammer, introduced him like, class. This is Brandon. He's new to the school. Blah blah blah. And then I remember she called me up to the front. She's like, Johnny, will you come up here for a minute? So I went up there and she kind of took us aside and introduced us. Like, hey, and she told me, she's like, I want you to show Brandon around and just be his friend and stuff. Like, all right, that's fine. So that day, I just kind of hung out with him and showed him how things worked at our school, which, first grade, it's not very complicated. But, yeah, that was where it all started. And I remember my very first thought of him was, this kid's got a weird voice. He had a very distinct, and to me it was just a very weird sounding voice. So yeah, that was my first impression of him.
That's first impressions for you sometimes.
Yeah, I was just like, man, what is this guy's voice? But yeah.
So had you been in school for a while, or?
No, it was just a couple weeks, like maybe, I don't even remember.
So did you just start?
Yeah, it was sometime in September, I believe, in 1982, which is when I started first grade.
All right.
So, anyway, that's where it started. Then it turned out he lived more or less around the corner from me. He lived, like I mentioned in the earlier video, he lived on Wilson Avenue, which was a dead-end street. And at the end of the street was the ditch, the ditch trail that ran from his street to my street.
Where that monster lives.
Yeah, where the ditch monster was. And yeah, we would just walk along the trail that was next to the ditch, and you'd get to my street. So it was like a 5-minute. We lived 5 minutes apart, basically. And yeah, throughout elementary, he was probably my best friend. Well, he was my best friend. And throughout junior high and high school, we became like the closest thing to brothers each other had. Because he only had one little sister, and then I had my 4 older sisters. So we were the only boys in our family, and yeah, we became like brothers.
So did you have the same interests for each other, or did you get him into the stuff you were in, and he got the stuff that he was in?
Well, that's a good question, John. Good delving into the subject.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I apologize for the shaky camera. It's hard to record when you're in a car.
Yes.
And it's not in...
I can't do it. That's why he's doing it. Yeah, we pretty much had the same interests. I remember he liked Star Wars. He was a big Star Wars fan. I was never into Star Wars. So other than that, though, yeah, we pretty much had the same interests. Everybody back then, growing up in the '80s, they liked wrestling. We had He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, all that crap. So yeah, everybody pretty much liked the same things for the most part, or at least knew about everything. So yeah, but yeah, other than Star Wars, we share the same interests. You want me to keep talking, or you have?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, shoot, I'm trying to think what else to say. Yeah, he was always over at my house, and I was often over at his house. Like, my house was always the fun house to go to, mostly because my mom wasn't there because she worked during the day, and it was just her and I there. So a lot of times we were left unsupervised.
That's the reason, if you remember, he was able to play games and Grandma not knowing about it.
Yeah, well, not go to school.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think of what stories I can share about Brandon and I.
Besides the ditch,
Yeah, that's not much to worry about. Yeah, he used to. We would sleep over at each other's houses and stuff. And I actually, one thing I remember, he was really into horror movies, and which I was never really a fan of. So Star Wars and horror movies, he really loved horror movies.
As I do too.
Yeah.
Not Star Wars, but I do love my horror movies.
Yeah, he was big into horror movies. I remember that at like an early age. So yeah, we'd sleep over each other's houses. I remember when was it? It was probably 4th or 5th grade, maybe even 6th grade, but can't remember. But around 5th grade, let's say. I remember he got a pup tent, like a 2-man tent, and I can't remember if we slept in that or if it was. I think I eventually got one too, just because he had one, so I had to have one. So whatever tent we were in, one of our tents, we would set it up in our yard, we would usually set it up in his yard for whatever reason, and then sleep out in it at night. And then I remember a couple times when my sister Heidi would have me sleep over at her house because her husband Steve was either deer hunting or working graveyards, and she didn't want to be alone. So she would have me sleep over and she'd like order pizza and rent wrestling videos for me and let my friends sleep over or whatever. So Brandon would sometimes stay. And anyway, I remember this one time, it was during the deer hunt, so it was like September, October, which meant it was getting pretty cold at night. So we set up the tent out in the yard over at Heidi's house, which was in my neighborhood, here goes he going.
Yeah,
sorry, I don't usually talk this much, so it makes me tired. Anyway, we set up the tent and just messed around, during the night. I remember, so Heidi lived on Wilson. So Brandon, how can I explain this? It was Wilson Avenue, went from State Street almost down to my house on Riley Lane. And there was Wilson Avenue near State Street is where Heidi lived, and then it went down and dead-ended, and that's where Brandon lived. So Heidi more or less lived around the corner and up kind of a long street from me. But anyway, so her and her husband Steve lived in one house, and Steve's grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa Cy, lived in the house next to them. And they were all, Steve and his brothers and his dad and I think his grandpa were all on a deer hunt. And so Heidi was sleeping over at Grandma Cy's house. I think Grandma Cy was probably there. I don't know, maybe not. But anyway, so we set up the tent in Grandma Cy's yard. And across the street was Larry H. Miller, one of the dealerships. It's still there. I mean, all the Larry H. Miller dealerships are still there. But anyway, whatever dealership it was, I can't remember. So we would go over and, like, at night, when we were sleeping on the tent that night or whatever, we went over there. We thought it'd be cool to steal the little caps off the tire valves, where you inflate the tire. We thought that'd be really cool to do for whatever reason. So we did that, and then I remember a cop showed up, and
just like one is right now. There's one right up ahead.
Anyway, a cop showed up, and he was more. He didn't care. We didn't show him the tire valve caps or whatever. He was just, what are you guys doing over here? And we're like, oh, we're just sleeping across the street here. We're just, I can't remember what he said. He's like, all right, well, you guys gotta get home. And I remember Brandon. He's like, excuse me, officer. What time is curfew? Like, what's curfew? What? Like, we were like 10 or 11, and he's, what time is curfew? So yeah, I remember that. But anyway, the other thing about those tent sleepovers, and that night in particular, so we'd fall asleep, and at some point during the night, I would wake up and the tent would have fallen. Like it was all like wet from the moisture in the cold air and stuff, and it had fallen on us, and we were like freezing cold, and it happened every single time. And
even when it wasn't raining or snowing.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, we wouldn't stand there if it was raining or snowing.
Okay. Well, I should have. No, I should have.
You should have known.
I should have guessed that because I don't.
I don't do that. I don't do rain or snow when sleeping outside.
Because tents now they're fine with rain, but I guess back then.
Back then it was very, very archaic. It was very. These tents were ancient. They were like that back then too. So anyway, but yeah, I've always wondered, like, okay, who did Brandon? He must have done that because it happened every single time. I don't know why he did it because if he was trying to pull a joke on me, it backfired on him every time. But anyway, so we'd lay there freezing and talking and stuff, and yeah, so there was that. But just most of my childhood memories somehow involve Brandon, just because he was always around, and just throughout all school. And then once we got out of high school, we kind of went our separate ways. We still stayed in contact with each other and stuff, but he started making some poor choices that got into more trouble, and I was making other poor choices myself, but they weren't near as bad as his. I remember in junior high, in 9th grade, we were accused of, and we probably were, bad influences on each other. People would say that he's a bad influence on you, and it's probably true. We were bad influences on one another. But yeah, in 9th grade, he got sent to a teenage rehab place called Turnabout, and so for a number of months there, I remember it was a couple days after Christmas is when he went in, and he didn't get to come back to school until March. So January, February, and part of March or whatever. But his parents sent him there just because I guess he was getting into drugs then. I didn't know that. I never did drugs or knew him doing drugs, but apparently it was getting pretty bad, so they sent him there to try to help clean him up and straighten him out. It worked for a little bit, but it never really stuck. So,
right. Alright, so that was Brandon.
Can I talk about my other friends?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So what about Robbie? Do you have any memories of him, or just the,
Yeah, no, Robbie wasn't around very much. He
was just there because he saw the ghost.
Yeah, he was more of a neighbor who I let sleep over sometimes, once or twice. I probably shouldn't talk more about Robbie, but
alright.
But no, the other major friend in my life was John Park. You remember John Park?
Yes,
yeah,
I do.
So, yep, and John Park, I met him in 7th grade. So Brad and I met in 1st grade at Liberty, and then at the start of 1st grade, and then John Park I met at the start of 7th grade at Hillcrest Junior High. It would have been, I guess, September of 1988. And we became friends. We had a mutual friend, Toby Roberts, who I went through elementary with, and Toby knew that I liked Transformers, and apparently he just barely met John Park at the start of the school year, and I guess he knew that John Park liked Transformers too, so he somehow put us in contact with each other, and we John and I had Mr. Wright. We shared a class. Our 7th period class was Mr. Wright's Utah history class at Hillcrest, and we were in that class together. And the one day we started exchanging notes to one another throughout class about which Transformers each other had, and just like what else we were into and stuff like that. So yeah, and then he, however many nights later or whatever, he slept over at my house, and yeah, we became friends from there.
They still are to this day.
Yeah, we still are. He sold me my house, or he helped me buy my house out here in Vernal.
Really?
3 years ago. Yep.
I didn't know he was the one who did it. I thought it was
Who'd you think it was, John?
you.
Oh, I just did it. Well, I mean, I
I
paid
thought
for
you
it.
found the house. The first
Well-
house and the second house you're living in right now.
Well, the first house, the house we rented, I found. But yeah, this house, he's a real estate agent. He helped me find it and buy it. So, but yeah, with John, we shared a mutual love of Transformers. Back then, that was when Nintendo was getting really big. So we both had Nintendos, and we're both really into video games. Yeah, in fact, our first couple sleepovers. So, what I don't know if it was the first, but it was one of the first. Back then was when you could rent video games, and I rented games, he rented games. But the one night he slept over, he rented a game called Golgo 13. You ever heard of that?
The NES or Super
That's the
Nintendo?
NES.
Okay.
Golgo 13. It was like a spy game, like an action game, but it had cutscenes. It was the first game I had ever seen that had cutscenes.
I think it said Ninja Gaiden had the
Well-
first cutscenes.
Well, yeah, Ninja Gaiden had it too. Ninja Gaiden was a whole different kind of cutscenes.
Alright.
They were a lot more advanced. Ninja Gaiden's cutscenes were a lot more advanced and more, I don't know. Well, yeah, Ninja Gaiden had, that was more cutscenes. Golgo 13, the cutscenes it had was just when you would talk to people, you would switch screens, and you talk to them in a different screen. So it wasn't really it was a cutscene in the sense that it went to a different screen, but not like Ninja Gaiden's cutscene. Anyway, so John Park rented that game and slept over at my house. We played it. We thought it was cool and stuff. And in fact, for my 40th birthday, and I still have it, he bought me Golgo 13 for my birthday present, just to commemorate our friendship and that first sleep, or one of the first sleepovers with me. So it may have been the first. I can't remember. It was the first memorable one. So and then I told you, I was telling him off camera the story of Super Mario Brothers 2.
But we're on camera now. Let's talk about
We're
that.
on camera. Let's talk about it.
We heard about Zelda 2. So
Yeah, Zelda 2 was Christmas of '88. But this was before Zelda 2 was Super Mario 2. So Super Mario Brothers is, everybody knows that was a huge game, and
saved the video game industry.
it saved it. It was on its deathbed, and shoot. So when Super Mario 2 was announced, that was exciting news. It's like, wow, there's going to be a sequel to Mario Brothers. So Super Mario Brothers 2 came out in October of 1988, about a month after I met John Park. And one day, John Park and Brandon both were at my house. We were just all over there, and my mom and my sister Tanya, they had to go to Fred Meyer, which was, it's not around now. It's Smith's Marketplace now, but back, most people would remember Fred Meyer. But anyway, it was basically a department store.
Hey, I remember Fred Meyer, and I'm 23.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I'd seen one when Grandma was working there. I'd seen her work there before.
Yeah, and my mom worked at Fred Meyer. So we went to Fred Meyer in Taylorsville. It's no longer there, but we went to the Fred Meyer in Taylorsville, and I left Brandon and John Park at my house. It was fine. So we went over there, and they had Mario Brothers 2. Super Mario 2 was there. It just barely came out, and my mom bought it. And I went to a payphone, and I called my house, and whoever answered, Brandon or John, I can't remember. And I told them, I was like, you guys, I just got Super Mario Brothers 2. They're like, no, you didn't. I'm like, no, I really did. They didn't believe me, of course, and then I brought it home, and obviously I had it. So it's pretty cool. We all sat there and played it for however long. And I was just recently talking to John Park about that, and my memory of that. He was saying that, I guess we had a sleepover around that time, either that night or somewhere close by, that and he was saying what a cool memory that was for him. Just when I got Mario 2 and we all kind of sat up and played it or whatever. But it was cool. But we had a lot of sleepovers involving Nintendo games. That was the big thing back then. But yeah, and he later, so this is October of '88, and then that following spring in '89 is when Ninja Gaiden came out. And I remember he introduced me to that game. That was a game he rented again and brought over to my house, and that was way cool. And yeah, just a lot of memories, a lot of Nintendo memories with John. Probably more than any other friend I have. Just always having sleepovers, playing these games and stuff. And
Did you play when Mario 3 came out? Did you play that with him, or was that just by yourself?
no, I'm sure I played with him. Yeah.
We'll probably get to that in a sec. I hope.
We'll probably get to that.
I hope.
Yeah. So what else? I'm trying to thinking chronologically here from there. So yeah, then we'll just talk about it now. Mario 3 came out in February of 1990, and actually it had come out on the PlayChoice 10 arcade, the Nintendo arcade, in the, I think it was the summer of '89, summer or fall, whatever.
In Japan, it had been released in 1988, and Dad had showed me a movie a couple days ago called The Wizard, and I guess that was an exclusive look for anybody in the U.S. who hadn't played it yet.
Yep, that was the first time people in the U.S. got a chance to see Super Mario 3. But they did have it on PlayChoice 10, and I remember the Reams up the street from Frank's house, my mom's boyfriend. I mentioned the Reams when I was talking about wrestling magazines. I used to go there, and my mom would give me a couple bucks whenever we were up at Frank's. I'd go up and play arcades, and they had a PlayChoice 10, and PlayChoice 10 there had Mario 3, so that was the first time I got to play it. And again, I remember I called my friends and told them I just played Mario 3, and nobody believed me. They never did.
Seems to be a running theme. They don't believe you.
Nobody believes me. But also back then, I mean, whenever you always heard lies and crap about people playing games, or I was telling you about, oh, my cousin did that.
Yep. Everybody's cousin.
Everybody's cousin always did something impossible or played something impossible back then. That was always, somebody would tell you a story of, oh, my cousin beat that game. My cousin has that game. And it's like, no, he doesn't.
It hasn't really changed because I know some people who still do that.
Yeah. And it was always a cousin, like somebody you would never be able to talk to personally or ever meet. It was just always my cousin. Like, okay. Well, this cousin, to my cousins, actually did play Mario 3, and I told my friends about it. They didn't believe me, and I think my mom let me bring a friend or two up to Frank's house once or twice to show him, like, I told you it's real. So, but then, yeah, Mario 3 finally came out to purchase in February of 1990, which is when my birthday is, February 8th. I don't remember getting it for my birthday. I remember getting Double Dragon 2 for my birthday that year, and I had some friends sleep over, including John Park. We played Double Dragon 2, and then I got Mario 3 shortly after, and yeah, we were always getting new games and stuff, so it was never anything new. But so yeah, and then with John Park, the other huge story I gotta tell, and you may want to pause it and restart, John, because this is a long story.
Okay.
Okay. We're rolling, right?
Yep.
Oh, we're rolling. Okay. So the other big John Park story, the legend of the summer of 1991, which was still probably, to this day it's the most memorable summer of my life.
And you just gave me the perfect name to name this video.
The most memorable summer of my life?
No, the Legend of 1991.
Oh. Well,
there's the taco time with the creepy bathroom. So if you'd seen this video a couple, about 3 years ago, that taco time was the one that had that creepy bathroom I showed you.
Did you show the taco time?
Yeah.
Just now?
Yeah. So that's the taco time where it was.
Yeah, we're in Roosevelt now.
Yep.
We're a half hour outside of Vernal.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. No. So yeah, John, you want to title it the summer of '91?
The summer of '91.
That's what it is. The legend part speaks for itself.
All right.
So anyway, the summer of '91 story there is for whatever reason, and I don't think there really was a definitive reason, just the way it happened, the way it turned out. I talked about John Park sleeping over, and really all my friends. It wasn't just John, but all my friends would sleep over. Mine was a cool house and stuff. But so in summer '91, actually I know what it was. It was because John Park got a mountain bike. That's what this should be called. John Park got a mountain bike.
I don't know.
I'm kidding. No. So anyway, early in summer of '91, John Park, he got a mountain bike. He was still sleeping over and stuff. What are you pointing at?
I'm fixing the glare.
So we got a mountain bike and brought it over, and it was really cool. And so I talked my mom into buying a mountain bike. Again, there's a running theme. My friends get something, so I get something.
Yep.
Brandon got a pup tent, I got a pup tent. John Park got a mountain bike, I got a mountain bike. But no, my mom bought me a mountain bike, and John Park and I started riding them everywhere. We never actually went to the mountains, but we rode them throughout Murray and stuff. So, and then just through that, he started sleeping over a lot. And almost every night that entire summer, he slept over my house, which was fine. But, what's this guy doing?
This is a steeper ditch.
Yeah. Anyway, so John Park, he started sleeping over my house every night. We would ride our bikes throughout. We would usually wait till the sun went down, at nighttime, just 'cause it was cooler and everything, and then we'd ride our bikes throughout Murray, and then we started talking to your mom's cousin Tina, who I'd been friends with for 2 years at that point. And Tina would have her friends sleep over, different friends sleep over, and then John Park and I would ride our bikes up to she lived next door to Frank's, but we'd ride up to her apartments, and she'd sneak out and would meet with her and her friends, and just hang out with them and stuff. We'd do that every night, and then on the way home, and sometimes on the way there, whatever, we would stop at 7-Eleven, and that's where we played pinball games. 7-Elevens back then usually had like an arcade game or two, and a lot of times a different pinball machine. So we would go and play pinball games. The main two we played, there was one called Fun House, which was like a set in a haunted carnival type thing. And the thing was, it had a ventriloquist dummy. Its head was in the pinball game.
As lots of them are.
Yeah.
They had props even back then.
Yeah. So part of the game was you had to shoot the pinball into the dummy's mouth or whatever, and its eyes would blink and stuff like that, and it always it'd go. I'm trying to think what it'd say. It'd say "Fun House." I can't remember what the exact phrase was, but yeah, it was like a creepy voice. "Fun House." And the other one was Gilligan's Island.
I remember seeing that one.
Yeah, I showed John a YouTube video of Gilligan's Island. So we'd play those all the time. And then we'd get Dr. Peppers and burritos, microwave burritos and 7-Eleven stuff. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, we'd ride our bikes. I remember one of the big memories was riding my bike down the middle of State Street in the middle of the night. There was no traffic at all, so you could do it. You could just ride right down the middle of State Street. It was pretty cool. Then a couple times we would ride over to Fashion Place Mall. The doors would be open, so we'd ride through Fashion Place Mall. And
that would not fly today because business is always closed because people just love to rob them.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't really fly back then either. But yeah, we still did it. So yeah, we just ride everywhere, and then the other big memory of that summer with him was the radio stations. And the one night, so that was back when people would dedicate songs to, their girlfriends or boyfriends and stuff that have dedications. Love lines and dedications is a lot of times what it was called. So it was after 8 or after 9, I think, that you could call in and dedicate a song to whoever. And John, he had a girlfriend at the time. He would dedicate Bryan Adams' "Everything I Do It For You." He did it every single night for her. And I remember he went to his dad lived in California, and he would stay with his dad for a couple weeks. And he made me call and still dedicate the song for his girlfriend every night while he was gone. And which was cool, but it was lame because this girl she was really strict LDS and wasn't able to date, so it couldn't actually be boyfriend girlfriend. We'd go over to her house and like say hi to her in the driveway and stuff, but she couldn't. Yeah, it was actually kind of lame. It was lame for him. I mean, it wasn't that he was lame, but it just I felt bad for him. I was like, man, this sucks. This girl can't do anything. And she probably wasn't even hearing the dedications too, but he tried. But anyway, point being is that one night I called when we were doing this. I called and asked if I could leave my phone number on the air and to have any girls call us, or call me. And I remember the DJ's name was Dr. Doug. Yep. And he's like, all right, so what do you want? I'm like, yeah, we just want girls to call us. He's like, all right, what's your name? I said, Johann, which is German for John and stuff. And to this day, John Park and I still call each other Johann from that. But he's like, yes, what's your name? I get, my name's Johann. He's like, all right, girls. And he's like, what's your number? I gave him my number, 268-1568. And he's like, all right, girls, if you want to call these guys, call Johann and stuff. And they didn't play it live. They played it was like a 2 or 3 minute delay. So we're listening on the radio, and all of a sudden he plays the recording of me saying this. And as soon as I said my number, the phone rang. You know the story?
No, I don't actually.
Okay.
I am listening. I'm just.
I know. I didn't know if I ever showed the story. So as soon as it played me talking, I announced my number. My phone rang. John Park and I were like, oh boy. So we answered the phone, and I go, hello? Is this Johann? Some girl. Like, yeah, it is. And then immediately my other line rang. Like, oh my gosh, hold on a sec. So I got the other line. Yeah, is this Johann? Oh boy. So we set up a system. It was kind of lame, but we set up a system where we brought this is back, with landlines. So we brought the kitchen phone into the living room, and the phone jack we had 2 jacks where you could plug in 2 different phones. So we plugged in 2 different phones in the same jack, so we could both listen in, and we took phone calls all night from girls, and we were getting so many calls. I mean, this went for hours. The girls were calling us, and we got to a point where we started taking down their name and number, and we'll call you back. So yeah, it went on for pretty much all night. It was a long night. It was
a good boy.
All night, and yeah, I met a couple girls. None of them were really that cute, which kind of sucked, but whatever. Got us a foot in the door, meeting girls and talking to girls. It was pretty cool. So yeah, I gotta tell one more John Park story.
Okay.
This goes back to my troublemaker days. So the following year in '92, this is early '92, like it was probably February, maybe even March. Again, John Park was sleeping over. We were 16 at the time, and so he's sleeping over, and some younger neighborhood kids stopped by. They were like a year or 2 younger than us. They came by, and I knew them and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to hang out?" I'm like, all right, whatever. We were all just kind of bored. It was a Saturday night, and we didn't have a driver's license yet, but. So we were still riding our bikes and stuff. So we went outside and just kind of walking around the neighborhood, and we were just walking down my street, and we came to in front of one of the businesses. There was like a pile of garbage, like boards and bricks and just anyway, discarded stuff. So one of us, I can't remember who. One of us or a couple of us got the idea to we were bored, started laying bricks across the street. And then from there we started piling the wood up and just kind of building like a little wall. We call it was a barricade. And that's what the story became known as, the barricade story. Mm-hmm. So we built up this barricade, and it was, I don't know, maybe just my imagination, misremembering or exaggerating, but it was like 3 feet high at least. It was pretty big, and it just, yeah. So we built this thing, and in the middle of the night, and my street was pretty isolated and private. There was some businesses down there, but not many houses. And so on a Saturday night, there was no business going on down there on weekends. So it was really quiet. Just we had time and stuff, the means to do this. So we built this thing up, and we thought, oh, that's cool. And then, that'd be cool if somebody hit it. So we ran through a few ideas. One of the ideas was, well, we could order a pizza and have them, deliver it, and when they come down here, they'll hit it. It's like, well, they'll see it though with their headlights. So John Park had the idea. We could say there's a prowler in the area, and that way they'll come down. The cops will come down with their headlights off, and they won't see it. So like, all right, yeah, let's do that. So I volunteered to ride my bike over to a payphone and call the police and tell them there's a prowler in the area. So I lived in the neighborhood behind Murray High School, and across from Murray High School at the time was a Circle K. Costco's there now in the hospital. There's a Circle K there. So I rode my bike over there, called 911 for the payphone, said, yeah, I live I'm on Riley Lane or whatever, and there's a prowler in the area. Can you send someone over? And they asked me my name, and I said my name was Bert Halliday. So, yeah, Bert Halliday here. No, but Bert, I got that name. There was a girl that I liked in high school. Her name was Christine Halliday, and she had a brother named Bert, which we kind of joked about his name. So I was Bert Halliday that day. I've actually had a lot of names that like Bernard Rizzo.
Yes, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. So
that is a hilarious story.
Yes. So I said I was Bert Halliday, and anyway, I got off the phone. I rode my bike back up to where my friends were. And as I'm riding my bike, as I'm getting close to him, I can see him, down the street. And I'm riding my bike, and all of a sudden I see him take off down a side street. And I was like, oh wow, somebody must have hit it. So I caught up to him around, down the street, and I was like, what happened? Like somebody hit it? And I know the cops showed up and they stopped right in front of it. So and then they got out. So and then my friends were close by there, and so they took off the other way. I'm like, shoot, somebody hit it. So like, all right, whatever. So we're on this other street in the neighborhood. Well, anyway, the cops. We decided at that point just to let's just go home. We're done. So John Park and I were heading back to my house, and the cops stopped us. Like, hey, what are you guys doing out here? And I can't remember what story we gave. John Park actually gave the story, and it was pretty convincing. Convinced these cops, that hey, we're just out here. We're not doing anything.
Hold on.
Okay. So yeah, John Park convinced them. We're not doing anything. So the cops were letting us go. And at that point, I think there was some other cops were talking to some of these other kids who we were with, like further down the street, who we just left. They're talking to them, and they were younger and stuff, and not as smart as us. And they got freaked out and intimidated by the cops, so they like pointed at us, and they're with us. And so we almost got away from these cops, and then these younger kids ratted us out. And so the cops stopped us, and anyway, eventually they like gathered us all up and took us in their police cars to go to the police station. And this is like midnight, 1 a.m. at this point. And I remember I was getting into the cop car, and I heard one of the cops tell the other, did you see that thing? We couldn't even get around it. Talking about the barricade we built. And I started laughing, because it was funny to me that in my mind I'm thinking, we're a bunch of dumb kids, and we just stopped Murray Police with some makeshift barricade that we just, we stopped Murray Police. And I was laughing at that, and like the cop heard me laughing. He's like, you think this is funny? You think this is funny? Somebody could have got killed. Which made me laugh harder. It's like, oh, nobody's gonna get killed from this thing. So anyway, they took us to Murray Police Station, and they called everybody's parents. And John Park's mom had to come and pick him up and take him home, even though he was sleeping over at my house. So, and I told them, because they were trying to call my house, call my mom. I was like, she's not gonna answer. I was like, because my mom was asleep on the couch, as she usually was, and she was, dead to the world. She wasn't gonna. She was deep asleep. She was never gonna hear the phone. And they called, and I'm like, she's not gonna answer. She's asleep. She's not gonna hear it. And she never did answer, so they finally just had to drive me home and stuff. And then, anyway, we had to go to, a couple weeks later or whatever, we had to go to juvenile court in Murray, and we each had to do community service. And I don't remember actually doing my community service. I may have done it, but I don't remember doing it. But one story with that is John Park. He was doing his community service at Murray High School, just like helping clean the school on a weekend or something. He called me one day because he found a wallet at Murray High and had some money in it. That way, I went and picked him up, and we went and used that money. Went to Training Table Restaurant, got some food. So all's well that ended well there. But yeah, that's the Barricade story. And then one more John Park story I'll tell. So again, in 10th grade, so we were all around the same time. Our guidance, we had the same guidance counselor at Murray High, and they were like testing out a new class or experimenting on doing a new class that had to do with drugs or the dangers of drugs or something drug related. I can't remember what it was. It was just they like to talk about drugs, and our counselor volunteered us to be a part of this class. It was like an hour a day, like once a week or twice a week or something like that, where we'd just go down. It was a like a meeting room in the office, like an adjacent meeting room, where John Park and I and a couple other kids who were chosen would go and talk about drugs. I can't even really remember what it was about. Well, anyway, one day we were in there. Oh, there, I got another John Park story too that reminded me about. So. One day we were in this class.
Are we still in the summer of 91?
No, this is now the spring of 92.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, summer 91's done.
Alright.
So spring of 92. But anyway, we're in this meeting room / class thing. And on the board was a magnet board. And it had all the teachers at Murray High listed and the classes that they taught or whatever. And it was basically a schedule. I think they were like creating a schedule for the following school year or something like that. And just, moving the magnets around the names of the classes and stuff of where they wanted the teachers to go or whatever it was. So we got the idea. We started messing around with it. Like, it'd be funny if, the gym teacher taught home ec. So we moved the gym teacher's name up to home ec, and we're just goofing around with this and, putting teachers' names where they shouldn't be and just, just for a joke. Well, anyway, we got in a lot of trouble for doing that. Afterward, I guess when they went back in there and saw all the changes we had made, they called us to the office and we got like yelled at for doing that. We put a lot of hours into making that, and you screwed it up and stuff. And actually, I think they had us do community service for that too, if I remember right. But yeah, just dumb things that we did that got us into trouble. It was really stupid. But actually, two more John Park stories. So. One I just remembered when talking about school and stuff was we were teacher's aides in 9th grade the following school year, or the previous school year. We were teacher's aides for our music teacher at Hillcrest. Her name was Mrs. Thompson. And Miss Thompson, she had spina bifida, which is what Sarah has, right?
Yeah.
With her, like she had problems with her legs and her spine and stuff like that. Spina bifida, it takes different forms or affects people differently. Well, this teacher, Miss Thompson, she had to walk on crutches, and which whatever, no big deal. But she wasn't always very nice, and she could be really mean she could be really mean.
Bad condition.
It probably was. Yeah, but yeah, and I understand that now. But back then, it's like this bitch. Excuse my language. That's what she was being.
Wait a minute, I got worse language on this channel.
Oh, you better not. I better not ever hear any worse language than that. I shouldn't even hear that.
Video games.
Yeah. So we were Miss Thompson's teacher's aides, which meant we would go. John Park and I would go one period a day to her class and help her sort papers or organize papers or maybe even help grade papers. I can't remember, but anyway, we just basically helped her in her class. So I don't know if I should tell this story. This is pretty bad.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'll tell what I can of the story, but it's actually pretty bad. I'm not proud of the story, but we did it. It was funny at the time, but
I'll just clean it up a little bit.
Well, no, I'll censor it a little bit.
All right.
I mean, it's not like vulgar. Well, anyway, it's not vulgar or anything like that or disgusting. It's really mean. But one day she wasn't in class. When we went there was a substitute teacher. Miss Thompson wasn't there that day. There was a substitute teacher, and like anytime you have a substitute, everybody's kind of goofing around and stuff. And so John and I were in one of her little offices there in the music room, and we found a tape recorder, and on there was a tape with a musical performance that one of her classes did or something that she recorded. Well, we got the idea to hit record during that, and we left a message for her, just a mean message, let's just say that. Mean message for Miss Thompson. And I guess later on she played it during class or something, and we did it in a different voice so she could tell us. We were like, Miss Thompson, blah blah blah. And so she couldn't tell who it was. We disguised our voice that way, but yeah, I guess she played it during one of her classes and heard that and started crying or something like that, which it was really mean. But we were jerk teenagers, and that's what we did. So there was that story. I had one more, and I'm forgetting it now. Okay. So one other story with John Park, and it relates to summer '91, but also later on too, when we're riding our bikes. We would when we'd ride our bikes, we'd go up to 53rd South, and there's going over 53rd South is a railroad overpass. 53rd South dips under the railroad tracks by the hospital now. But we would go over that overpass from my street. You could access it, and we would go up on an overpass being a bridge. We would go up there and we would roll rocks down it, down one of the side walls or whatever. We would roll rocks down and start picking up speed and bounce onto cars and stuff. And then a couple times we'd go to my house and get whatever we could out of the fridge, and we'd have hot mustard packets from McDonald's, and would chuck them down on cars from the overpass. And I remember the one we had salad dressing that would pour onto cars, and the one big one was there was some crab salad in my fridge one time, and we went over the overpass and tried to dump it onto a car, but it was stuck in the container, and it just kind of went and just dropped right onto a car and stuff. So again, just the trouble we'd get into when we did that. So yeah, and then one more John Park story that I can think of. This was the summer of 1990, so the year before 91, and I remember it was John Park, Brandon, and this kid named Colin Crozier, who we were friends with, went to school with. So the four of us were sleeping over at my house, and I mentioned about the pup tent, that story with Brandon. Well, now it's a couple years later, and I'm having these friends sleep over, and we were big into role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, and we had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game that we all were into. It was pretty cool, and we were going to play that all night long in the backyard. So I borrowed from my cousin Rick. He had a 4-man tent, and I borrowed that so we could sleep outside, play it in this tent. So we set up the tent. We're out there. The four of us, Mill and I were playing and stuff, and we got hungry. Well, I didn't really have anything in my house, so we decided to walk over to Brandon's house to see if he had anything. So we walk over there. We, do whatever we do there. We're coming down the ditch trail, but back onto my street. Well, as we get onto my street, down the street, as we come onto the street, we're kind of in the middle, my house is down here, and then there's more street down this side. Well, down on this area, we come onto the street, and a headlight appears, like turns on, and starts chasing after us. And we're like, well, what is this? We start running, and it was like a 3 or 4-wheeler. Some guy was chasing us on his, whatever it was, a 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler. He's chasing us, and we go running down the street back to my yard, run into the backyard, and Brandon and I jumped into the tent, and John and Colin went into the back door of my house, into the kitchen. And this, whoever this was on this 4-wheeler, let's say, I don't know what it was, but this 4-wheeler, he's chasing us back to my yard. He gets off and goes into the house, like goes up to the door, and following John and Colin, and I guess John Park, I think, was hiding under the table, under the kitchen table, and Colin was sitting on the floor of my kitchen. He opens the fridge, and this guy, it turned out to be my neighbor across the street. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just getting something out of the fridge." Even though he's like sitting on the floor, just opens the fridge. Can you imagine that, John?
Yeah.
Sitting on the floor, just I opened the fridge from sitting on the floor. But anyway, he talked to these guys, and then he left and got on his 4-wheeler and took off. And then Brandon and I are just watching all this from the tent. And then he leaves, and John and Colin come out, they're laughing and stuff, and we're like, well, what was that about? And he's like, he said that we were stealing from him, stealing car parts or whatever from him. This is a neighbor who lived across the street from me. And in their yard, like their entire property was old bike parts and some car parts and stuff. Anyway, this neighbor thought that we were out stealing from him, from their yard, which we weren't. We were just going over to Brandon's house to get something to eat or whatever, so we just laugh and stuff. And anyway, we go back to the tent, we're sitting there playing this game, we're starting the game again. A little bit later, a car pulls down Rick's driveway. So Rick, my cousin Rick, who I borrowed the tent from, he lived in the house behind us, and the driveway to his house ran alongside my house. So a car pulls down his driveway into my backyard area, and it was a cop. And the cop comes out, and he comes walking over to the tent. He's got his flashlight, and he shines his light on us, and he shined on me. He's like, "Who are you?" And I had my flashlight, and I shined it back on. I'm like, "Well, who are you?" And he told me that our neighbor called the police on us and wanted him to come over and stuff. We're like, we're not doing anything. We didn't, so anyway, he just came to find out what was going on. It was fine. Nothing happened. He left.
Okay, we just had to take a short break because my arm was getting tired from home.